Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Give people a few minutes to get on here. How's everyone doing this morning? I hope everybody's doing good this morning. We're going to talk about being prepared for the unexpected. I think it's an important topic this time of the year, and I came across some information that I thought was really interesting, and so I want to bring it to the channel because as preppers, we often talk about being prepared for the unexpected. And it's probably a good thing to be prepared for the unexpected. And we're going to talk about how cities and communities around the country survived. Hello, what's up, Oracle? Hello. Welcome to live stream. Welcome to live stream. Give people a few minutes to get on. It's a pop-up live. I usually try to do my lives at 10 o'clock, but our meeting ran into not 1 hour, but almost 3 hours, which was fun. I want to talk about the Great Blizzard of 1888 and how cities survived a disastrous whiteout that happened back then. And I know we have technology and we have all these wonderful things, but could it happen again? It was known as the White Hurricane, and it was the Great Blizzard of 1888. It actually buried cities like New York, Boston, Philly under mountains and mountains of snow. Um, the situation, I don't know, we'll see it escalate. Oracle's, I believe, before the January 6th inauguration. I think that there's so many things going on in the United States right now. We're having hyperinflation. We have hyperinflation like out of control. And I think that that's going to come into play big time because just the American people were so spoiled. We're just really not ready for the type of situations that are going to occur. And I think Americans always say the same thing, that it's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen here. It's the United States. It's not going to happen. But I think what we forget is what isn't going to happen. We look back at what happened on September the 11th, what happened in Pearl Harbor. Can those situations happen here again? I definitely think they can. I mean, it's just how it is. But the White Hurricane is something that I think that we should all talk about. It was the Great Blizzard of 1888. The price of food, yeah, the price of food has definitely gone up. Welcome everyone to the chat. When you see New York, Boston, Philadelphia under mountains of snow, this is the time of the year that all of us need to get prepared. And preppers always talk about this, that we should have 3 days of this and 3 days of that. But when that happened, there was drifts that towered, that trapped people inside their own homes. They were unable to get out of that storm. And it claimed over 400 lives, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it caused over $20 million in damage. And we're talking all the way back in 1888. We have to realize that when these kind of situations happen, be it if it's a disaster situation like a snowstorm, or if it's a man-made catastrophe, or if it's an FF event here in the States, what it could lead to and what could happen. And when you think about transportation stopping and food supplies running low, this is what we prepare for. And there was entire neighborhoods and communities that were left in the dark for several days. No, it was like the whole country froze and it was just at a standstill. What's up, Abdullah Rashid? Welcome to the chat. Please smash the thumbs. Please come in and chat. I mean, live streaming is about interaction with the community and putting your thoughts and ideas out there. Don't be an a-hole because I'll just throw you out. But, when these types of situations, hello, Quentin. Nice to have you at the chat. When these kind of situations happen, then people realize why they should prep. What is the reason for prepping? And it's an insurance policy, honestly, for you, your family, for yourself. Because imagine being trapped in your home for 48 hours. A lot of people can't make it. Like what happened in Texas a couple years ago when part of the grid went down. People didn't even have water to make it. They didn't even prep enough water. And the old saying in the prepping community is 1 gallon of water per person per day. I've done it. Living in the forest before I moved here to Colorado, I was in the Ozarks in the middle of over 350 acres of forest. And we had to haul our water up there to the cabin. So it was semi off grid. And when you have things like that happen and you don't have access to get water in and you don't have any rain catches set up, it can lead to a devastating situation. We can do a lot of things to survive. We can. But when you're just at a standstill, it's a huge, huge thing. So during this white hurricane, what really happened? It all started on a Sunday, March 11th, 1888. And we're talking history here. The day began warm with spring just around the corner, but during the night, temperature dropped sharply and snow began to fall. Within hours, there was a monstrous storm that engulfed the entire northeastern United States. And it became devastating. New York City was hit the hardest. They had winds over 60 miles an hour, created snowdrifts as high as 30 feet high. Could it happen again? Of course it can. Sidewalks, train tracks, and roads were impassable. No one could move. Telegraph wires snapped. Now we have a modern age technology, but could these things still freeze the United States? Most definitely. In Boston, the storm dumped more than 20 inches of snow. Harbors froze, trapping ships, trapping people, and cutting off the supplies to the United States. And I think it's a very interesting fact of the history to look back at what did occur. Across Connecticut, drifts swallowed up houses and barns, and rural communities in Vermont and New Hampshire were completely isolated. So by the time the storm ended on March 14th, right? So it started that day, and how many days is that? 3 days that it went for. By the time it stopped, 400 people were dead, including hundreds of people froze to death in the streets or got lost trying to find shelter. Those were only the people they could find. Entire families were stranded, and a lot of people found ways to survive by being resourceful. The main thing was the hardest thing during that time was securing food. And we all have the opportunity right now. It doesn't matter where you're at in this world. As we see, South Korea just implemented martial law. So could it happen in Vietnam, Asia, Philippines, any country? Yes, it could. And when those things happen, if you're not ready, most of the people in the Philippines and other parts of in the world that are in a third world country get food on a day-to-day basis. But what if you couldn't? And that's why we prep. Markets were closed during this white hurricane. What's up, Ron? Hey, Ron, nice to see you. They were actually closed. Food deliveries were impossible, and people had to make do with what was already in their kitchen. And that's why, as a prepper, we often talk about providing your food, getting your food stocked up. And I'm not talking hoarding. I'm talking about having the basics, being able to survive on rice or maybe potatoes. There was a time before refrigeration that preserved foods like salted meats, dried beans, canned goods were critical for survival. And I think that, with everything that's going on in the world, we could see this happen again. With Korea being on lockdown, what would happen, right? What would happen if ML was called right here in the United States? We have to look back at 2019, which is not that long ago. Was that martial law? How many of you in the chat think it was martial law? Price of food has gone up and crazy. But I think the main thing that a lot of people during the 1888 white hurricane came to the conclusion of is that they had root cellars that were filled up with vegetables like potatoes, carrots, turnips. Hunting and foraging became a way of life and a necessity. And farm animals, right? Even the farm animals had very low supplies to survive through those 5 days. I think the biggest thing is that being a preparedness enthusiast today, the takeaway is really simple on this conversation this morning, is to stock up while you have the opportunity. No matter where you're at in the world, if you're not stocked up on some basic things like food, water, maybe electricity, like some way to provide your lighting, so like flashlights, candles, I will say this, if you have animals, be very cautious about candles because you could end up with a fire in top of a serious situation. Having well-stocked pantry of emergency survival foods, having the means to cook it. A lot of people think, okay, well, I'm just going to do this and I'm going to do that. And they don't take the time to prepare to have extra bags of charcoal or extra bags, bottles of propane, having a small or being able to build a small stove and know how to do it. When you think about just the heating solution alone in 1888, it was coal mostly then. Firewood deliveries were halted in 1888 during this white hurricane, and warmth became one of the biggest challenges, even though it was 3 or 4 days long. It was 4 days, and that night it plummeted into the negative temperatures where people really couldn't keep themselves warm. Being able to have blankets, being able to have wool blankets. I'll tell you from being in the Navy, wool blankets suck. They're not the most comfortable blanket. They're itchy. They're not comfortable. But being comfortable and being able to survive is two different things. In a lot of the wealthier neighborhoods, and we're talking 1888, because it's a great history lesson, residents who still had fuel, they did invite others into their home to stay warm. And I had a really messed up thought about helping other people when I first started in the prepping community. I was like, I'm going to slam the door and good luck on whatever happens to you because you didn't take the time. But I've come to the conclusion that, it's really going to come down to people helping people, be it if it's a disastrous situation, weather wise, if it's an earthquake, a typhoon, whatever it is, people have to come together in the community. And I think here in 2024, most people don't trust each other. And we're going to have lone wolves definitely that will be out there that will take your stuff. They're going to want to take it. They're not going to want to care that you took the time to prepare. They're going to want to take your stuff. And I think honestly, it'll become a matter of survival. They may even want to take your life. And that's why it's so important to prepare. We can learn from the struggles of 1888 by investing into our own futures, living within our matrix, living within our means, and getting out of the matrix of credit card debt and things like that. Solar generators, a lot of people talk about, I'm going to get a generator, I'm going to get a generator. Gas, you're not going to be able to get it. And I've had people tell me, well, I have 500 gallons of gas stored up. Do you think that somebody in your community or your neighbor or somebody doesn't know that you have that shit right outside your home? Hell yeah, they do. And it's just like unloading your supplies in front of people. It's not the wisest move you can make. I want to say that there's a lot of good solar generators out there and a lot of smaller generators, solar-wise, that you can get for a reasonable amount. You could at least charge up your cell phones and things like that because we rely on them so much. And when the systems do come back up, you'd want to be able to have outside communication. I think another great thing is just to be prepared is to have a NOAA radio. When I was traveling as a nomad and I was on the road for 7 years in an RV, a Class A RV, I had a NOAA radio hanging right by the door. And that kind of tells you of what's going on around you. But we rely so much on our cell phones. Imagine if there was a hack or any kind of situation where we didn't have that outside communication around the world. I actually talked to Tin about this last night, that, her being in the Philippines is I know that it's hard over there. I know that it's hard in many countries, but you need to take the time to save you a little bit of money, be it if it's $5 or $2 in another country or $20 here in the United States. You have to take the time to save a little bit of cash flow. And sometimes it's hard. I know many people are living paycheck to paycheck. But if you don't invest in yourself, and say all systems are fail, say there is no electricity, say the grid goes down, the internet goes down, outside communication goes down. If you have an LDR or somebody in another country that you care about, you're not going to be able to reach them. And then on top of it, even your lines of communication in your own country are going to be cut off. I think that during this blizzard, what I learned from this article is there was a lot of medical challenges and there was a lot of makeshift solutions. If things go sideways, you might want to ditch the cell phone. Yeah, and that's the thing, Ron, is most people don't realize that no matter if you turn off your GPS or not, we'll talk about that statement in a minute. If you turn off your GPS or not, I had someone that worked for a three-letter agency, her husband did. She actually showed me if the GPS was off, and this was on an old flip phone, right? That they could act, and when they first started activating the GPS on people, that you could actually enter a code, and this is still today. That's why they got rid of the BlackBerry phones, and most people cannot get Blackberries anymore in the United States because you had access to really turn off the GPS. On every other phone that's out there on the market today, unless you're old school, there is a code that you can put in on any phone, and she showed me because I did not believe it. I want to say this, Ron. She actually punched in that code. It showed when I was home. It showed that I went to McDonald's that day. It showed when I was sleeping. It showed I went to the post office, and all those GPS, according to my eyesight, was off. So I had a friend of mine tell me that when shit goes sideways, put your cell phone on a train going the opposite way you are. And so I think that's really something good to bring up in the chat, Ron. I mean, honestly, because when you hear those stories and have you seen it with your own eyes, then you realize how serious that situation alone is. You'll be carrying a GPS on your freaking back. And I don't know about y'all, but if shit goes sideways in the United States, that's the last thing I want is to have a GPS that's leading anyone directly to my path. One thing I want to say, though, about medical challenges and makeshift solutions is when that blizzard, that white hurricane hit in 1888, the blizzard didn't just bring snow, it brought danger. People were slipping and falling. There was frostbite. And if any of you have ever heard my story about hypothermia, it can set in so quick. And the same with frostbite. And you will lose your fingertips, the end of your nose, your ears, anything that's out there in the extremities. Plus, illness is going to set in. And with doctors unavailable to make house calls, which we don't even have today, think about how many families had to fend for themselves. So home remedies became the first line of defense. And I think that's why it's so important to learn about herbs, is because herbs, even if you only buy a few basic herbs, you would be surprised at how smart and intelligent the Chinese are when it comes to herbs and herbal remedies. There's a wonderful freaking book out. Let me see. I'll show you. I always forget the name. It's like the dictionary of herbs, right? And it's written by a doctor. It's called Healing Remedies. Healing Remedies. And this book, if you get this book in your arsenal of books, you're going to be able to survive a lot of shit. I mean, you could, that's the other thing I think, Ron, is a lot of people rely on the internet too much for information and they don't have hard copies. Another great series is the bushcrafting series. There's 5 or 6 books in that series. You can go to thriftbooks.com. You can buy all these books to at least have some basics in your arsenal of books to help when the internet goes down. You notice I didn't say if. I believe that all of our systems, our modern day systems, will be hit, such as our infrastructures, which will be everything from banking to hospitalization to prescriptions to our grid to our water supply. And when those are hit, it's going to be too late. Right now, I believe we have a narrow window of opportunity to get prepared. I believe that going into 2025, especially with the research I've done, if the tariffs take hold, right, we are going to see hyperinflation that will be unbelievable. Right now, it's hard to get things in this country because we rely so much on China. So imagine if these tariffs happen, which I believe they will, we are going to have a very hard time accessing things that we need. So this is the time to really go through and think what's really important. If you're on medicine, get extra medicine. Prepping water. Do not use milk containers. Some people say it's okay. I've done my due diligence on that, and I would really honestly tell you not to use plastic milk containers. Maybe get you an IBC tote. Those are 175 to 275 gallons. Get you a 55-gallon barrel. Even if they say you can't collect rainwater, you know, look into the state laws because everyone has the legal right to collect 55 gallons of water per person. And that at least is a little bit of safety net. I think that a lot of families during the 1888 White Hurricane, they leaned on community healers or neighbors who had some medical knowledge. And extreme cases, people attempted dangerous treks across the snow to find help. And when it's a SHTF situation and the shit really hits the fan, the last thing you want to do is be out in the masses trying to maneuver through possible military movement, National Guard, or anything like that, FEMA, because you're going to get caught in a whirl of bullshit. You know, road access will be cut off, those types of things. There is one story that I want to say out of this reading that I did about the White Hurricane. There is one particular story that sticks out to me. It was a woman in New York City who actually went into labor during the storm, and her neighbors worked together to deliver the baby, even though none of them had medical training. And it's a stark reminder of why we should have a well stocked first aid kit and learn some basic medical skills. Supplies like bandages, pain relievers, antiseptics, over the counters, OTRs, those things need to be in your first aid arsenal. They need to be there so that you can have them available. This would be the time of the year to go maybe take a Red Cross first aid class, a CPR class, those types of things. Because if you can imagine that transportation and communication alone could be cut off, imagine what could happen. I think that it would be very hard for people to navigate and stay in touch, and it's going to cause a huge, huge problem. Yeah. Well, and the other thing too, Ron, is that, you know, if you are on a prescribed medicine, imagine, or maybe a CPAP machine. A lot of people are on CPAP machines. Imagine what will happen to people. You know, I think that you can ask your doctor, your main physician. I'm not a doctor. Is yeah, and antibiotics. Any extra antibiotics, you know, you can talk to your physician about how long do antibiotics last past the expiration date. And I have talked to them. And the thing is with antibiotics, the potency goes down. This came directly from a doctor. Yeah, I did. I did leave the Ozarks. I am now in Colorado. I came out here due to what I really realized about a mag, deliver your truth. Really, a mag is people that you really know. Out there in the Ozarks, I was on my own, especially after the breakup, right? I was definitely on my own. And not only that, that cabin was then compromised because of how nasty it got. I mean, to be honest. I think communication will be a huge problem when there's a breakdown in the United States. And the other problem will be identifying who is fighting for the right cause and who's fighting for the wrong cause. And I think that that'll be a huge, huge problem. A lot of families during the 1880 blizzard, and I'll tell everyone this during the White Hurricane, is that it may be very important for you to get an old fashioned oil lamp. Many families communicated with an oil lamp. And the last thing you want to do during a SHTF situation is you be running off of a generator and have all your lights and everything on, and people know that you got and they don't. Because instead of having maybe two or three people coming to your home, you may have hordes of people. You know, it may be like a Mad Max zombie apocalypse situation. And like, you know, I hate to say that because I don't believe in the movie Fairy Tale Land. I believe that we are going to see these things happen in the United States, and a lot of people, the majority of Americans, are not prepared. And that's just truth. From the statistics that are out there, there, I would say probably 20 to 22%, which is very high now, are preparing for a major catastrophe. I think after the last election, it made a lot of people pull their head out of their ass and see where this country is headed. Once all of the treasury bonds are dumped back into this country and BRICS has aligned itself properly with the gold backed currency, I think the United States is going to be left in the dust. Every great country, right? Every great country, every great empire usually lasts between 230 and 270 years. Where is the United States? And then if you look back at the history of the United States in all of its existence, we've only had roughly 10 years of non warfare. So when you take those things into consideration and you think about the warfare situation alone, right now our military is the weakest, our country's the weakest. I'm hoping and praying for the country that we do have good leadership. Will it happen? I honestly can't say. I think that the biggest thing is that when it comes to communication, you definitely want to have like some signal flares, walkie talkies, ham radio, because it's going to be invaluable. And I think the biggest lesson for preppers right now on this live stream, if you're listening to it right now or in the future, is to stock your pantry, prepare for the cold, prepare for the SHTF, because the United States cannot keep sidestepping everything. We can't. There's going to come a point that countries are going to raise their head, and it's already occurring. More and more countries are joining BRICS. Why? Because it's an opportunity for something new and different from what NATO and the United States has put out. And it's a harsh reality for many people to realize that the United States is not going to be the great superpower that we've been in the past. But the reality of it is, it's going to happen. Will it happen in our lifetime? I don't know. Am I a patriot? Hell yeah, I am. I think that it's going to take every man, woman, and child to fight for what we believe in. The other thing is right now, while we have this opportunity, I think one of the biggest things we need to do as preppers, as homesteaders, as patriots, is to identify the holes in our emergency supplies. Some people believe that any bit of prep is better than no prep at all. While that sounds really good, I believe that it's bullshit. That theory is bullshit. We have an opportunity. We have a library at our fingertips with iPhones and Samsungs and Androids. Why not utilize 1 hour a day to educate yourself on foraging, first aid? You could even take a first aid class online. But I think this is the opportunity to do those things. I also recommend that you actually simulate a blackout situation in your home. Try it in the midst of winter. Try it for 24 or 48 hours. See how your family reacts. See how you react. See what it's like to be bitter cold and not be prepared because you can't cook a meal. You can't stay warm. Learn the medical basics. Equip yourself, right? Equip your fucking selves. Excuse my French, but I think that we're running out of time, folks. The motto here has always been do the dang thing. Sometimes I feel like I have to cuss and be a little over the top, extreme, to get people to really listen. And if we can save one more person from this live stream of what's coming to the United States, then it's worth it to me. But equip yourselves for what's going to happen, not if it's going to happen. I will tell you this, folks, build a community. Build a community of those asshole neighbors that you can't stand, because those asshole neighbors are probably going to be the ones that are going to be like your left and your right hand. Those are going to be the ones that will give you a strong network of neighbors that can make a difference during a crisis. And I know Joe didn't mow his lawn. He never paints his house. He never picks up shit, but he's sure got a pile of rubbish in the back. That rubbish may become necessity. That pile of metal or wood may become to the point that it's a matter of survival. In Venezuela, and I often talk about this, is in Venezuela, one thing that they did, and it's plentiful, it's a plentiful country with trees, but it became so bad that people were burning their own furniture to survive so they could cook. You have to prepare now, because if you don't expect everyone you meet that has prepared to cover your ass. Preparedness is really a journey, and it's every single day that you should learn something in the preparedness community, way, whatever it may be. All of us are on different journeys. I think one thing that y'all have seen in the last year with me is about getting healthy. The healthier we are, the less likely we have to be a victim of something that we could have prevented. The less of a victim that you have, that opportunity that you have to be a victim, the better off you're going to be. Tell your wife, your daughters, to go take a self-defense class. And maybe you're overweight. I'm just going to be honest. Maybe you sat in the recliner too damn much. This is the opportunity to put your boots on the ground and stand up and do something. Get actively involved in your communities, in your neighborhood, even if you can't stand Joe next door. Get to know Joe a little bit. Maybe Joe was a carpenter or an electrician or a plumber. Maybe he was a teacher. Maybe Joe has military background and maybe he's seen shit that you would never imagine. Maybe Joe has some type of issue that you have been a hypocrite about instead of getting to know him or her. There's a lot of Karens in the United States. Maybe Karen has a reason for being the way she is. This is the time to build your community around you. What's up, KY? This is a time to build that community around you and get to know the asshole that lives next door like KY that you think's over the top. Right, KY? This is the time to take those opportunities and build a community. And you don't have to hang out with them and eat dinner with them and shit, but get to know who lives around you. And it's really important. I haven't been here in Colorado very long, but I know every neighbor within this 2-block radius because they could either be an asset or they can be a foe. And if they're going to be somebody that's going to come for my shit, I need to know. Yeah, being an asshole is your American right. And I agree with you, KY. But it's really important to build that community around you. Just like when I lived in the Ozarks, I knew all those houses around me. I knew who lived there. I knew kind of what job they did, what kind of vehicle they drove. And it's important because I don't believe that we're going to be able to keep sidestepping all the bullshit. I believe it's going to come full tilt. I've believed this for the last 2 to 3 years, and I think it's going to come full tilt. And when the United States gets cut off at the Achilles heel, we are all going to feel it. So this is the time to prepare and be ready. Not to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to get food. Prepping is way deeper than just getting food because the food's going to run out. You're going to run out of freaking ammo. You better have a good knife, a good machete, some good hand tools. You better have those things because when all the other shit breaks down, it's going to be like if we get flipped back 100 years, imagine just 100 years, what it would be like. I mean, it would be most people in this country have a meltdown if Facebook or Twitter twatter goes offline for 30 minutes to an hour. Imagine if it goes offline indefinitely. Just saying. I think that with all the hacking that's going on, and I'm getting ready to get another check from the hacks. Am I happy about the check? Sure. But with what's happening, if they hit us with a major hack and hit our banking system, we will be screwed, blued, and tattooed. And so I think it's really important to look at that situation and realize that we're not as safe as we think we are. I think people in the United States have become lazy, soft, and I think that a lot of people will learn a very harsh lesson when the SHTF hits here full blown. I really do. And I can only handle so many people to help them. I'm hoping that you can put people to work, in your local community so that you can be assets to each other. And there's still going to be the asshole guy that comes over the top, that lone wolf that wants to take your stuff. Believe that. I mean, it's going to happen. I can't stay on very long, y'all. I just sat through a 2.5 hour meeting that wasn't the most fun, exciting thing in my day. But I hope that each and every one of you takes this window of opportunity, no matter where you live. I don't care if you're listening from Germany or India or Asia or the Philippines or here in the United States. When the US falls, it's going to affect the whole world. And we are being set up for the great fall. It will happen. What's up, Georgie? It definitely will happen. I hope that each one of you is still prepping. I hope that you learn the skills because that's something they cannot take from us. They can't steal the skills. And I hope that you all are working to get healthier. I hope that you're learning some basic first aid. I hope that you take this window of opportunity. Maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's tomorrow, or maybe it's 2 years from now. We don't know. And that's why we keep preparing. And I agree with you, Ron. Everyone's backyard is going to be crucial for survival, honestly. It really is. What's up, Steven? Mr. Stefan G. Hello. I hope that you take the opportunity to do the things you need to do to protect your families. Yeah. Oh, that would be a great course, KY, for everyone to take a stop bleed course. You can get the packets, right, of stop bleed, but using them, that's the issue. Is I think people say, well, I got this prep, like a tourniquet, but they don't know how to properly use a tourniquet. Just like stop bleed, they buy it, but buying it and utilizing it and learning the skill to use it or learning a manual way to do those things is another important thing. Because like I said, the supplies, they may run out or somebody may take them. And I know what you're going to say, KY, is that they'll have a hell of a fight. But the thing is we're going to have to use our resources very smartly. And I believe that if they hit our grid or our infrastructures, it will affect people very quickly, very drastically, and we will have a lot of people that'll just want to try to take our shit. That's it. Yeah. You, KY, I don't know if you're doing a lot of videos. I haven't seen you pop up in my stream for a while. You should talk about abdominal wounds. I don't know if we even can anymore on YouTube. There's so many things that you can't talk about. You know what I mean? You can't talk about. But think back to what I just talked about. If you missed the live stream, go back to the beginning. But I think it's very important to prepare for the hurricane, the white hurricane of 1888. You did tactical training in the Marine Corps for just that set of circumstances. And Stephen, thank you for your service. I'm glad that you became part of the channel. Thank you for your memberships, everyone. I think that it's really important because I'm sure, Stephen, you would agree. The resources are going to run out, but the skills will never run out. And I think learning to forage in your part of the country is crucial to survival, true survival. Maybe even purchasing some of those old military books are awesome because even if you look at the nuclear book, that nuclear book, y'all, is set way back 1988, 87, right? Yeah, and I agree with you, Ron. Medical will be a major problem for a lot of people. And one drastic thing happens, that's when you're going to be like, we're in a shit show. And when you don't have access to medical, just like when the medical hack happened, what was that, last year? The same thing happened. Old military guides are cheap and essential. And I 150% agree with that, KY. Some of those old military books are the best shit you can get your hand on. And the bushcrafting books. You know how I feel about the bushcrafting books. I learned so much when I was in the Ozarks sitting out there in the forest, testing my own skills to get out there and do the dang thing. And that's like really, really important. You can sit around and we can sit on these prepping channels and we can talk all the bullshit we want to talk. But if you don't put your boots on the ground and actually practice the skills, you'll never learn. And then and the thing is is if you practice the skills over and over and you set up scenarios in your own head, like testing your skills, no electricity, 48 hours, the whole family, you're going to watch how your family's going to react. And you're going to have people in your own family, even though you've been trying to lead them in the right direction, they're going to freak out. They're going to have a total meltdown. And you're going to have to work with that person because I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to leave anybody in my family behind. Now, everybody else that's on the outside, if you get left behind, I guess you better put your boots on and hurry up. I'm not going to hold your hand. But my family, that's a whole different situation. Even my elderly mother, I'm not going to leave her behind. And me and my brothers have talked about this situation before. You know, it's one thing to pick up your own family members and help them with the struggle, but I'm not going to have the time or the patience to pick up your dumb ass because you didn't want to prep. I mean, that's the bottom line. If you don't want to learn the skills and you don't search out the channels here on YouTube that can give you some basic knowledge, you know, then you're screwing yourself just running around la 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 in the chat. One thing I will tell you, if you go to the playlist on the main part of my channel, you can go to the reboot playlist and see all the different demos I've done, from heating to cooking to sharpening knives to bushcrafting to making water filtration out of nothing. You know, you can't just talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. And if you're not going to pull your head out of your ass, like we used to say in the Navy, when all the shit breaks down, I'm sorry for you. Because I'm not going to rush in and help you. I'm going to rush in and help my own family and my own local community. And that's the truth of the matter. I mean, people can say, well, I'm going to help so-and-so and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But when it's when it's really the SHTF and the shit's hit the fan, you're going to worry about you and your own. And oh yeah, definitely practice shelter, fire, then trapping. And also have, you know, some resources to go hunting, be it if it's, I mean, the pew pew is wonderful and everybody in America needs to have one right now. Yes, I don't give a shit. You know, YouTube can kiss my ass. Everybody needs to go get one. That's why we've never been truly invaded. But I think the next invasion in the United States, it's not going to be like the Civil War. You know, it's not going to be like Mad Max. It's going to be the hammer down from the three-letter agencies and the people on the Hill, and they're gonna try to take total control. And if we don't stand up and get actively involved, I'll tell you what, we are screwed, blued, and tattooed. Good gun, blade, and good dog, true. Yeah, well, and that's the other thing I believe, I agree with you, Mr. Stefan, is that if a lot of people, especially women, will purchase a gun but never go shoot it, never go and practice. And I know a lot of guys that do that too. Well, I have this and I have this, but they've never even shot it. It's sitting there with a clean barrel and they have no idea how to properly handle it. And I believe this, in a SHTF situation, someone will take that. You want to point and talk about it, they're going to take that from you and turn it around on you. Just saying. Yeah. Well, in Kentucky, how many times have we seen that on prepping channels? Oh, I got all this shit, right? And they put it in a storage unit. I'm not going to say who it is. He's a big prepper, doomsday prepper, right? But he threw all the shit in the storage unit. Happened to be in New York. And when he went back there, all the food was messed up. It was unedible. The cans had exploded. You've got to prepare even for your food. That's why I'm into brown bag MREs with heaters. If you need the heater, great. If you don't need it, stock some of those heaters up. They're lightweight. You can use them at a different time. But, you know, to talk about it and not use it and not take the time to do due diligence to be able, KY, you knew who I was talking about. But that's hilarious, KY. But you know it's the truth. And then you're going to come on, and there's another one, you know, that happens to go gray a lot, that did the same damn shit. And the thing is how are you going to lead someone if you're not actually doing it? George, you're a good guy, man. you're a good guy, George. Georgie Mitchell, Possum Head Mitchell. But KY, that's hilarious because you knew exactly who I was talking about. Or you can go to even a bigger prepper's channel and he'll sell you everything you need, everything that he wants to pad his wallet. Just saying. Now, he's not from in the United States, but I won't name names. Sometimes I'd like to just call them all out because I laughed at one of them when they opened the closet and they only have this little closet full of stuff, but they are so prepared, over the top, urban survival. Think about where you live. Think about how you're going to exit where you live, be it if it's rural, be it if it's in a small community, or be it if it's in a city. There's definitely a way. KY, you just want to call them out all out on my channel. Yeah, yeah. Well, but he's got a great business mind. He does have a great business mind. I mean, he's went over the top. And, don't be fooled by every prepper on YouTube just because they have a big channel. You know, the ones that are really putting their boots on the ground and doing stuff, that's where you're going to see some good information and knowledge. And I'm not saying that the knowledge that those two prepping channels have brought to YouTube is bad in any way, in any form. But if it's all about their business portfolio, then we have a different story going on, right? Just saying. I hope everybody has a freaking fantastic day. Yeah, we have, KY. We definitely have. We definitely have seen them all by now. And we've seen a lot come and go and run for the woods or hide in their bunker. Smash the thumbs, a-holes. I'll see you again soon. I need to eat some lunch and get ready for work. And gotta love that 2 to 10 shift. That's always fun. We get all the action, though. We get the fights. KY, man, I would love to talk to you in private. Maybe I should just put it out on YouTube. Uh, I wish I could do video clips of some of the bullshit that's happening inside the center. And now I got approached to go to DOC. I don't know about that. The money's freaking good. The money's really good at DOC, but I don't know. It depends what the position is at DOC, and I'm going to talk to the guy in the future here. So we'll see where that leads, but um, I've seen some shit, KY, this last 3 months. I'll tell you what, I've seen some serious shit. All right. Yep. Keep the faith. Walk in faith, not fear. Keep prepping. Stefan, thank you again for becoming a member. I really appreciate you. Good luck to you and Miss Emmy. I hope the best for you both. And anybody else that's getting in that love mood. It is the holidays. So, KY, I am headed back to the Philippines in February. I'm super excited. Doc can get you into law enforcement, be a good position. Yeah, well, and I think that it will be a good position. Um, what they're leaning toward with me is to be a case manager inside DOC, which is a way different. It's not security. You're not setting out in the control rooms, but I like being in the control room, man. This last month, I have been operating like over 60 cameras, and I really freaking like that job. I did my first drug bust inside our facility because of cameras, and it was badass. Then I ended up going with another drug bust because that one led me to another. I got 2 drug busts in one day, dude. And I think with my military background, I think that it could be really cool. I like it. Is there any is anything left of that island? Which island? Which island, George? Is is there anything left of that island? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh, the one that got hit by the typhoon? I haven't I don't know. Most of our local guys were started in DOC, then shifted to enforcement. Yeah, but I only got 3 years left, KY. 3 years left till retirement, and I'm actively involved in a new real estate thing. So I don't know. I think DOC would be a good step for me, honestly. Um, and client manager inside DOC, I think would be a pretty fucking awesome job, especially with the wages they start you at and the benefit package. The benefit package is phenomenal, but the starting wage is like really nice. I like where I'm at, but why not step into more opportunity if you can? You know what I mean? I don't want to go into law enforcement, but when I first took some type of career thing all the way back, 35, 40 years ago, they told me that that's where I should go. Military or law enforcement, it all came up like in a high rating, and I chose the military. So maybe it is time for that shift. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I don't know about that, George. I haven't been paying attention to that. Tin was sick for the last couple days, so a lot of my attention was there, getting family to come to her aid and stuff, which she's doing a lot better. So if you could all lift Tin up in prayers today, I'd appreciate it. And good vibes, good thoughts, that she can shake the bug. But anyway, y'all, I really got to run. God bless you from here in Colorado to wherever you're at. Do the dang thing. Keep your head on a swivel. And most of all, keep prepping because our window of opportunity, I believe, in 2025, we're going to have an FF event right before election or a major event right afterwards. Um, okay, I'll look into it, George. I'll let you know. I'll try to have a live stream. I think well, no, I have a new schedule. So Friday and Saturday, I'd like to have a live stream in the evening just to get everybody to talk and have an open panel. KY, that'd be a great time for you to come up. I'll try to post it if I'm able to hold one of those nights. It just really depends on what's happening. And right now, most of my live streams have been in the morning, like 10 a.m. So, which is kind of a weird freaking time, but I do the best to stay involved in the community. I will. I'd love to have you up again, Kentucky. Y'all take care of each other, take care of your family, get your family prepared for a real SHTF before the opportunity is not there anymore. God bless you. From here in Colorado, big, huge prepper hugs or a smack upside your damn head, you a-holes. A little abuse before I leave. Stay safe and hit C like that button right up there at the top. Hit the button if you're seeing this now or later. Peace, love, light, and hope. God bless y'all. Peace out.